Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, I'm going to react to angry outbursts caught live on TV. Now, I can't imagine, like you've wanted to be on TV all your life, because usually to get onto TV, you've got to want it from a really young age. You go through all the training, you finally get a job on a TV network, you're earning a good salary, and then someone says something, maybe a guest or something happens backstage that just sets you off, you lose your head, you potentially get fired, or the network maybe loses a sponsor. It's just insane what can happen, when you lose your temper. And it's going to be funny because these guys are often trained, to be full of poise, to, keep a cool head at all times, because anything can happen on live TV. So, it's going to be quite interesting just to see what happened here, like what made this person lose their temper. And by the way, guys, if you enjoy my videos, definitely check out my Patreon. It's full of exclusive videos that will never get onto YouTube. Loads of the full-length movie reactions for the reactions that are edited that I put onto YouTube. And obviously we can chat one-on-one there as well, which is always fun. But yeah, let's get to the video. This should be fun. Let's do it.
We all lose our temper sometimes. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 angry outbursts caught on live TV. For this list, we're looking at times people lost their cool on live television. This means that Bill O'Reilly's infamous "We'll Do It Live" meltdown will not be included, as it obviously did not air live.
Whoopi Goldberg, she was going crazy, with the pointing.
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Jeez. Chill out,
Number
bro.
20, frankly just bullshit. In late February 2020, convicted Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich appeared on CNN to talk with Anderson Cooper. Blagojevich was serving 14 years in prison for soliciting bribes, a sentence later commuted by President Donald Trump on
Hold on, so he was in prison at this point? Surely not.
February 18, 2020. Blagojevich is playing up his prison time, referring to himself as a political prisoner and comparing himself to Nelson Mandela.
Today, and that is the
really?
I just got to stop you. I'm sorry. As someone who's worked in South Africa and saw apartheid, the idea that you are comparing yourself to somebody who has actually been railroaded by an apartheid system is just nuts.
Cooper rightfully calls this comparison offensive, but that's not all. As the interview goes on, Cooper grows increasingly resentful and impatient with Blagojevich's statements, and he eventually refers to his alternate universe of facts as bullshit.
You do have an obligation to at least admit what you did wrong, and you refuse to do that, and you're creating a whole new alternate universe of facts, and that may be big in politics today, but it's still, frankly, just bullshit.
This isn't the first time that Cooper has spoken his mind. Back on Anderson Live, he called the so-called human Barbie a dreadful person.
I mean, Mandela, he served 27 years in prison for, for nothing almost. He literally just served all that time for nothing. And this guy here, who's a legit corrupt criminal, is likening himself to Mandela. Come on, man.
Person and cut the interview short.
I try to be really polite to all my guests. I just think you're dreadful, and I honestly don't want to talk to you anymore, so I'm just going to stop.
Number 19, Dan Marino's freakout. In the 2000s, former Miami Dolphins quarterback Dan Marino co-hosted weekly football talk show Inside the NFL. When talking about golfing with Terrell Buckley, he had a wild freakout that came completely without warning.
Playing golf, he told me that defense is
Mate, cool it.
After stumbling over his words,
roid rage,
Marino slammed his fists into the table, startling those around him. Marino even seems to have caught production off guard with his little tantrum, judging by the camera's rapid movements, zoom-ins, and zoom-outs. Hey, we all word up our messes sometimes. Mess up our words. Jesus. Number 18.
I mean, I can see his frustration because I've been filming videos where I'll make a massive blunder and I'll have to start it all over again or cut it out. So it's frustrating. So I can understand his frustration, to be fair to him.
Danny Dyer on David Cameron. English actor Danny Dyer is often typecast as the tough guy in movies and TV shows. Now we know why.
So what's happened to that David Cameron who called it on? Let's be fair.
I think you're referring to the former Prime Minister.
He's right.
While appearing on Good Evening Britain,
this was about Brexit, I think, and in my opinion at least, and in a lot of metrics, Brexit has not really worked out. It hasn't. Financially, we're much weaker. We have far less influence in Europe and worldwide.
Dyer began passionately discussing prior UK Prime Minister David Cameron and the issues surrounding Brexit.
Where is the geezer? I think he should be held accountable for it.
Yeah, because David Cameron was the guy who basically approved the referendum. It was his idea, really.
Should be held accountable for it.
His rant included several profanities and various colorful names for David Cameron, like geezer and twat. His passionate comments garnered some chuckles, while the opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn managed to keep a straight face. When he was done, he sat back in his chair, crossed his arms, and shook his head in disappointment. So he's not a fan
this guy right here.
of David Cameron then? Number 17, Weatherman's cold response. We all get a case of the winter blues sooner or later. It affects some people worse than others, even the meteorologists.
Predicting the weather accurately is a multi-billion-dollar industry that can affect businesses and literally save lives. So there is a lot of pressure on weather forecasters, which might explain why they sometimes snap.
In 2018, a Grand Rapids, Michigan meteorologist named Gary Frank let loose on one particularly cold day, venting not as much about the cold weather, but the reactions and expectations of his coworkers for constantly complaining about it.
Well, because you guys are dragging me down. You guys keep... Well, every
God.
time I get done with the 7-day, you guys are like, oh, gosh, oh. Every time.
His sarcastic rant
Mate.
includes mimicking his coworkers' disappointed sighs and suggesting maybe he should just misrepresent the weather to be warmer to make everyone happy. It's actually refreshing to see.
Mate, why so sensitive, man? I mean, the sighs are just because the weather's cold. It's not directed at you.
Such human moments like this on the news.
Doesn't matter what time I come on. 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, and then you expect me to be chipper for 5 straight hours. It's miserable.
Number 16, Sam the Cooking
What do you guys think about that? I feel like it was a bit over the top. I guess I see where he's coming from, but they're complaining about the weather.
Guy calls for silence. Hey, many of us get flustered and frustrated while cooking. Fortunately, our freakouts are not caught on live television.
So we're making a
Why won't you
tuna?
get all of it in
We're
there?
making a tuna.
Tuna's the second thing we have in our house.
Can I talk?
While appearing on Today with Kathy Lee Gifford and Hoda Kotb, Sam the Cooking Guy grew tired of the host's constant interjections and firmly told them to pipe down.
Pay attention 1 minute.
Sam realized his mistake when his outburst was met with a painfully awkward silence,
Oh my
and he tried
gosh.
alleviating the awkwardness with some smiles and jokes.
I was lying about your eyebrows. I think they're shabby.
Right. Okay. Onion. I don't even know what I got. Cucumber.
Unfortunately, that was an error he simply could not fix, and the rest of the segment proceeded rather coldly, with Gifford seeming particularly defensive.
We take some feta cheese. I love to buy the block feta cheese. I can hear the crew
Awkward.
back there going, this guy, it's his last day here for sure.
They've been around a long time because they don't
By
talk
the
to
way,
us like that.
can I point?
Number 15.
But I mean, they shouldn't have, let the guy tell the audience what he's doing. A few interjections ain't so bad, but, they were constantly just getting in there. Just let the guy talk a little bit.
Marr kicks out conspiracy theorists. Live audiences are typically well behaved, but sometimes you get the clown who just wants to make noise.
We'd be able to attack this very bad disease that's attacking us.
While Bill Maher was talking with U.S. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, conspiracy theorists started loudly yelling from the audience.
Boy, sometimes here at CBS, I wish the sound wasn't working.
At first, Lee and Maher simply looked at them in amusement and cracked some jokes at their behalf, but then they kept going. This prompted Maher to stand up, colorfully inquire about the security, and personally run over to the conspiracy theorists to kick them out himself. This was met with loud cheers from the studio audience, so we think they were just as fed up with the troublemakers.
I'll kick your ass out of here, too.
Number 14.
Yeah, that guy, I mean, bro, you're in the audience. Just be quiet. There might be a section for Q&A, but just let the actual guests, talk. It's quite disrespectful.
Anchor Untethered. Back in 2009, Drew Smith, a news anchor for SNN News 6 in Sarasota, Florida, had very little patience for poorly worded transcripts. After struggling to get through his story, Smith sighs in frustration and hangs his head in shame.
In her will, Smith also intentionally omitted to provide for her spouse and other heirs, including future spouses and children, and other descendants. They will...
After a brief pause, Smith brandishes his copy of the script and asks,
"Who writes this stuff?"
And asks either the crew or the viewers at home if they are as confused as he is.
Are you guys lost like I am?
Before continuing on, Smith seemingly answers his earlier question by stating, quote, "Some intern at NBC News Channel writes this crap." But we get it. Poorly worded news is confusing for everyone, and quality control is important.
Some intern at NBC News Channel writes this crap.
I would have thought that before a script made its way to the anchor, it would have been proofread and edited.
For 13, Alexi Lawless speaks his mind. Sports commentators aren't one to mince words. If a performance sucks, they're going to tell you about it. And Alexi Lawless, a former soccer star and pundit for Fox Sports, certainly told us about it.
It's dark days indeed, but this is a time for leaders to step up. And so to the supposed leaders, I will say this. All right.
While covering a match between the Seattle Sounders and LA Galaxy, Lawless unleashes a barrage of insults against the national United States soccer team.
Oh my
He
gosh.
singles out specific people, including Tim Howard, Jeff Cameron, and Clint Dempsey, and says that those that he didn't single out, quote, don't even warrant a mention.
Tim Howard. Tim, the Belgium game ended 3 years ago. We need you to save the ball now.
Oh, God damn.
Jeff Cameron, clean it up or let's get someone who will. Clint Dempsey, yeah, you're a national team legend. Now we need you to be a national team leader.
And that's before calling them all, quote, soft, underperforming, tattooed millionaires.
Oh
we don't know if this is
gosh.
tough love or just straight up mean.
You're going to continue to be a bunch of soft, underperforming, tattooed millionaires? You are a soccer generation that has been given everything. You are a soccer generation who is on the verge of squandering everything.
Number 12.
Wow. The US men's national team must have been performing really bad at that point, right? Because why else would he say this? Like, let me know, had the US men's team just been like beat like 5-0 or something by Mexico or like a rival nation? Like, what happened?
Let me talk, Carol. If this list proves anything, it's that meteorologists are hanging on by a thread. This outburst concerns Chad Myers, the severe weather expert for CNN.
Okay,
that
so
is lower
Chad,
pressure, but
Chad,
Camille...
Chad,
let me talk, Carol.
Translate that for us. I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Well, if you would let me talk.
While discussing Hurricane Katrina, anchor Carol Costello interrupts Myers by saying his name over and over, wanting him to
Why?
explain the terminology he's using. Understandably frustrated, Myers proceeds to yell and throw his papers on the ground. Costello and Myers both laugh the incident off, and Myers states that he was just having fun with Costello. It seems clear that they do this simply to diffuse the palpable tension, because Myers was obviously not having fun. He is stressed the heck out.
All right.
Carol.
Thank you, Chad.
All right, just having fun with you this morning.
I know. It's a stressful time.
It
I know.
is.
Awkward. It's so awkward and passive aggressive. That smile and that look, that...
Number 11, Andrew Dice Clay fights back. Live TV and comedians rarely make for a safe combination, especially comedians known for their provocative humor.
It's ridiculous. I come on CNN and the guy don't even know what he's talking about. Go ahead.
When Andrew Dice...
He sounds like somebody out of The Sopranos, like Tony Soprano or Paulie. Hey, Tony, where's the gabagool, eh?
Clay appeared on CNN, the anchor opened that Clay was a headline guy and asked him what it was like running a gym.
You were a headline guy.
I'm
and
still
then
a headline guy. You know what I mean?
For a while you popped out. Now you're coming back. For a while you were actually you were running a gym. Tell us about that.
Running a gym?
Weren't you running a gym at some point?
You're supposed to be a news guy.
The comments greatly upset Clay, who stated that he is still a headline guy and never ran a gym. Following that, Clay launched into a tirade that involved numerous F-bombs and the very loud and very verbal disapproval of the production.
You know what? Go yourself. You know what?
All right. We'll go back to talking about Art Arnie.
Our personal favorite bit has to be the anchor trying to segue into the next segment while Clay yells and swears off camera. Number 10.
What was that guy's problem? Like, it just seemed that he had a bit of an attitude from the start of the interview. Like, or maybe it was you used to be a headline guy thing that just kind of set it off. But from the start, he was kind of like leaning away from the interviewer. Like, he just seemed very standoffish, didn't he?
Weatherman flips out. This one was a question of priorities.
We have viewers complaining already. Just go back to the show. No, we're not going back to the show, folks. This is a dangerous situation.
In Dayton, Ohio, a local broadcast of The Bachelorette was interrupted by an emergency weather statement regarding an impending tornado. Midway through the broadcast, weatherman Jamie Simpson checked social media and saw viewers were complaining about the interruption.
I'm sick and tired of people complaining about this. Our job here is to keep people safe, and that is what we're going to do.
This sent Simpson over the edge. He yelled at the viewers at home when
people would rather watch The Bachelorette than know that if there's a tornado that's going to like rip their house apart. Talk about priorities.
on a minute-long tirade and called their reaction pathetic.
Stop. Okay, just stop right now. It's not. I'm done with you people. I really am. This is pathetic.
Viewers were not happy, and Simpson wasn't happy that they weren't happy. Basically, no one was happy. Number 9, burning with frustration. This is a hot one. Okay, not literally, but there is fire involved. Mika Brzezinski is the co-host of MSNBC's Morning Joe, a weekday morning political talk show. Back in 2007, Brzezinski grew frustrated with the constant coverage of Paris Hilton.
Hold on a second. I'm going to make a point. Lord. We're not covering this, all right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm done with the Paris Hilton story.
She attempts to set her news documents on fire, saying, quote, "I'm done with the Paris Hilton story." When her co-anchor takes the lighter away, Brzezinski gets up and throws the papers into a nearby paper shredder.
This is my Paris Hilton story.
What a statement. That is a statement about the state of journalism.
To be fair, she's being dramatic, but I completely agree. I just don't understand why certain news outlets will beat a story to death. They'll just keep on, like, day after day after day after day. They'll keep talking about the same thing. It's so annoying, isn't it? Like, stop talking about it. We don't care anymore.
You know what? You have changed the world, Mika Brzezinski. How can you give us
at least my world? When reflecting on the moment for a 10-year anniversary special, co-anchor Willie Geist called it, quote, a symbolic moment for the show, in that Brzezinski was refusing to air and discuss such trivial matters of celebrity.
This is the way things have sort of been done. These are the things you've seen talked about in the morning. Yeah. They're literally going into a shredder, and we're starting something new.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Mika got called to the front office, and they were going to yell at her.
No, I did get yelled at.
Number 8, Charlotte Green quits on air. This rant by Alaska's KTVA anchor Charlotte Green went viral.
Now, everything you heard is why I, the actual owner of the Alaska Cannabis Club, will be dedicating all of my energy toward fighting for freedom and fairness, which begins with legalizing marijuana here in Alaska.
After reporting on the Alaska Cannabis Club, Green shockingly revealed that she was the owner of the Cannabis Club and quit on live TV.
And as for this job, well, not that I have a choice, but it, I quit.
Her resignation involved a lengthy
talk about mic drop
speech, a well-timed F-bomb, and a dramatic walk-off camera. This left the other KTVA anchor stunned and literally speechless as she tried to recover from Green's colorful on-air resignation.
We'll be right back. Pardon for us.
The clip subsequently went viral, and Green found herself a bit of a champion within the marijuana industry. Unfortunately, her club was raided by police in 2016, and Green was slapped with a felony conviction and a $10,000 fine. Number 7.
Oh my God, I hope that she made some money from that club before, the felony charge to pay for the legal fees. Oh dear, because isn't getting a job much harder if you've got a felony on your record?
Ben Affleck gets worked up. Back in October 2014, Ben Affleck appeared on the talk show Real Time with Bill Maher alongside author and podcast host Sam Harris. And it didn't take long for the fireworks to really get going. The discussion veers towards the subjects of radical Islam and Islamophobia, and battle lines are quickly drawn.
You're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing. That if you're critical of something...
Well, it's not a real thing when we do it.
Right.
Well, no, it really isn't.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people, and that's a problem.
Big of you.
But the
But why are you so hostile about this
Because it's gross. It's racist.
Maher claims that Islam is the only religion that acts like the mafia, and Harris says that
Islam at this moment is the motherlode of bad ideas.
The Oscar winner then goes off on the two men, calling their assertions gross, racist, and ugly things to say. All this while sitting back in his chair in frustration and muttering "Jesus Christ" under his breath. So suffice it to say, he didn't agree with their opinions.
You criticize the people who are doing it, not the Philippines. You know what I mean?
Well, what if the people
As a Filipino kid lives down the street from you, it have nothing to do with that.
Number 6, Sue Simmons drops an F-bomb. There's something really funny about an otherwise professional news anchor breaking character and yelling out an F-bomb.
At 11, paying more at the grocer, but getting less. We'll tell you how to get the most. The f*** are you doing?
After reading through the news teaser for WNBC, Simmons could loudly be heard cursing off camera as the footage was rolling. Simmons was reportedly yelling at her co-anchor, Chuck Scarborough, who was distracted by his computer. Unfortunately, Simmons didn't realize that the segment was live.
I'm truly sorry. It was a mistake on my part, and I sincerely apologize.
It's actually quite ridiculous that we have to apologize for swearing on TV. Like, you know, I would say the vast majority of human beings swear. It's like, what's the big deal? You know, it just feels like so pointless.
She later apologized to the viewers for her outburst, but really, more people were probably amused than offended.
Yeah.
Seeing that boat drift in silence following her F-bomb is just comedic gold. Number 5, R. Kelly
I'll never forget this interview. I will never forget it.
versus Gayle King. Even though this interview wasn't aired live, it was presented exactly as filmed. R. Kelly has long been the subject of numerous sexual assault allegations.
I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this shit.
In March
Oh my God.
2019,
So funny.
Kelly appeared on CBS This Morning with
It's
Gayle
so
King
funny.
to discuss the allegations and the recent documentary, Surviving R. Kelly. Kelly grew increasingly emotional and frustrated as the interview progressed, culminating in him screaming right into the camera.
This is not about music. I'm trying to have a relationship with my kids.
Mate, shut up. If you know what you did, if you knew, like, you shouldn't have done what you did. It's as simple as that. You can't expect any public sympathy.
I can't do it.
He then stood up and continued to shout, pounding on his chest. It didn't end there, as his tirade continued for almost another minute.
The makeup.
Number 4, walking away from Bill O'Reilly.
Please welcome Bill O'Reilly.
And here we have another disagreement arising over religion and extremism. Back in 2010, political commentator Bill O'Reilly appeared on The View to promote his book Pinheads and Patriots, Where You Stand in the Age of Obama. The discussion turns towards an Islamic community center called Park 51, then scheduled to be built near Ground Zero.
And let me break this to you. 70% of Americans don't want that mosque down there. So don't give me the weebies.
O'Reilly claims without proof that 70% of Americans don't want that. Whoopi yells, "Oh my God," shoots back in her seat and swears at O'Reilly before she and Joy Behar storm off the set. This is anything but scripted, just a real impassioned reaction. Number 3, Jim Ryan versus Dick Oliver. This led.
I wonder if he had a source for that 70% claim. Does anybody know if maybe shortly after the interview he had a source? Because to go on live TV and just like say a number like that, you know, it's obviously without any proof, it's going to be quite inflammatory.
Legendary argument took place on July 19th, 2001. Good Day New York anchorman Jim Ryan is watching a report from Dick Oliver on a landlord-tenant dispute. It's pretty normal everyday stuff, until it isn't.
All right, it's back to you, Jim.
Ollie, don't let her go away. That's what. Does she have a response to that? Is she still there?
What's that?
Did the lady just leave?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
After Oliver lets his tenant interviewee leave, Ryan chastises him for the quality of his reporting.
What?
This results in a bitter and very awkward back and forth on live television, and you can see the tenant cringing and suppressing a laugh in the background.
I'll give you lessons on how to become a reporter later
Well, I'll give
on.
you some lessons on how to be an editor because I was your boss once.
Yeah, you were and are no longer. How did that happen?
This incident would become so infamous that it inspired Bill Hader's Herb Welch character on Saturday Night Live, with Hader portraying an elderly reporter as combative as he is incompetent.
Please just ask the question.
Who started this thing?
Well, a couple of us actually started.
Spill the beans.
Number 2. Kanye on Bush. Back in 2005, no one knew that rapper extraordinaire Kanye West would become one of the most controversial and outspoken artists of the 21st century. That is, until a concert for hurricane relief.
I hate the way they portray us in the media. If you see a black family, it says they're looting. If you see a white family, it says they're looking for food.
This was a live benefit concert that was meant to raise money and awareness for the victims of Hurricane Katrina. West was paired with comedian Mike Myers and went off script, and Myers could only
Wow, so this was 2005, they said. So this was 18 years ago.
Stare at him in confusion and nervousness. He knew something was coming, and something indeed came.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
West's comment is now legendary, as is Myers' reaction and the hilarious cutaway to Chris Tucker. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Mate, how did that go down when it came out? Because this was national TV, right? Many millions watching that. Did Bush release a statement or something? He probably didn't acknowledge it.
You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Mike Tyson blows his stack. Back in 1992, Mike Tyson was sentenced to 6 years in prison for the rape of 18-year-old Desiree Washington. This topic was brought up years later in 2014 when Tyson was visiting Toronto's CP24 news channel on a promotional tour after meeting with the city's then mayor Rob Ford.
And the mayor, and this is the first time probably in the history of Toronto where the mayor is bigger than the whole city. You know, he's the biggest celebrity than everybody in the city. Everybody wants to see the mayor. And he's a really dynamic character.
News anchor Nathan Downer broaches the idea that the mayoral meeting could possibly have interfered with Ford's election race, as Tyson is a convicted rapist.
I don't have no comment to that, you know, because it's negative.
Yeah, like, why is he bringing that up? Why are you bringing this up? This is clearly many years after the fact.
And you're being negative, and I met the mayor, and nothing they can do about it.
And Tyson is not happy. He initially responds in a seemingly controlled manner before utterly and profanely losing his composure multiple times, eventually calling Downer.
It's more nerve-wracking for me to hear us talking to a rap piece of shit like you. Come on, Mike.
Downer reminds Tyson that they were on live TV, but he doesn't seem to care, like at all.
We're gonna wrap up this interview. Thank you for coming in.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this.
Oh my god! I've got zero sympathy for the last guy who was interviewing Mike Tyson. It's like, mate, why are you asking these questions? Like, he didn't bring it up once; he brought it up twice. This, like, you know, Tyson served that sentence in '92. That interview looked like it was at least maybe 2015. So we're talking over 2 decades after. Like, what are you doing, mate? Like, why are you talking about that? I'm glad that Mike put him in his place, to be fair to you. A lot of these other, like, the other entries on this list, I feel like were partially justified. There was one in particular where the script was so bad, so grammatically incorrect, just throwing in random words here and there. Of course, the person reading it is going to get annoyed because it looks like he's the one who's saying and who's thinking of this dodgy grammar. So it makes him look bad. Hilarious video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.